Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere, and even earn money. We like that. All in one place for totally free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your cellular telephone or your computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else, those other places that podcasts are heard.
Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&As and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free, zero catch. We've been using it ever since we started How Long Gone. And ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel like having the option of turning off the Q&As and the polls on the user dashboard has really helped boost my creativity and take it to another level. I highly recommend giving it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. Good Wednesday to you, sir. How are you?
I'm great, man, to be honest with you. Oh,
wow.
You know, it's just, I feel good. I feel good.
I'm feeling good too, Chris.
I like that. I'm glad to hear that. Why are you feeling good? Did you actually exercise today?
Yeah, I did a full kettlebell workout yesterday. I played some tennis this morning, and I was using the big boy kettle. I was using the 50, not the 40 or whatever. And
wait, hold on. I want to clear something up on the record here since we are recording. Can you do a Turkish get-up with a 50-pounder?
Not so much. I'm using the smaller one for the get-ups.
Okay, I was just going to be really impressed because we were talking about this one of the instructors at the Undefeated Gym on Saturday was demonstrating the Turkish get up, and I said, that's funny, my partner and close friend, and I wouldn't even call him a fitness enthusiast, them jeans, can do a very heavy get up, but a 35-pound is nothing to shake a stick at.
No, it's nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, just doing one
regular,
balancing a man's shoe on your hand versus a kettlebell. It's tough, and I'm kind of going slow back into it with the whole knee thing, and making sure I'm not pushing myself far beyond the limits. But
yeah, we can't have TJ on the injured reserve again because I know I'm just chomping at the bit to get back out on the court with you, and I think luckily we have something planned for later in the week, so I have something to look for. I have something to look forward to besides just counting my money.
We're on the iCal. You're able to get knocked down a few pegs in just a few short days, Chris. Don't worry.
That's great. I love getting knocked down a few pegs. That's kind of my thing. Like when I'm forced to tweet about an NFT, people definitely let me know how they feel about me.
Let it out, brother. Let it out. And also, I was taking a peek at the old infrared sauna this morning as well.
Yes. Yeah, tell me about it.
Cheaper than I thought. It looks like, we're out of stock right now, but you can order them on, Home Depot, Costco, all these places. Like, you can get a 2-seater home unit sauna that seems to be, well reviewed, easy to set up and install. You don't need any crazy power line setup, just plugs into the wall.
Yeah, what do? Do you just plug it in?
Yeah, it just plugs into the wall like your goddamn iPhone charger or anything. And you get into it for $1,300-$1,400. You split that with Bay.
It's really
it's not bad at all. To be able to have a schwitz every single day, and you just wake up, go boom right into the sauna.
I like that a lot, and I think it's going to cause me to spend even more time in the suburbs, which is sad but true. But yeah, I think I might pop in. I could hop the fence. If I don't know where you're going to keep this thing, but I feel like it has to go outdoor, right?
I'm going to be able to put it in the office where I'm recording right now. I can still keep the bed, my desk with my computer and everything on here. I'll have to move the TV out, but we've lived here for 2 years and I've never watched TV in here. It's just kind of sitting there because there's an extra one.
You know what I think? You think you should do? I think you should mount the TV on the wall above the computer and have our chartable just kind
the
of
ticker
running. Yeah, have the ticker, have the anchor window open, so we're seeing our views. We're seeing the till go up as people listen. We're seeing new. new ads come in. It'll make you feel like action. Yeah, that's what I always liked when I first went into like executive offices in the mid 2000s. You know, it would be a music business office, so I'd go into this guy's office and he's got a fucking TV with like MTV on, you know, or like VH1. I'm like, this is sick. I didn't think you could watch TV at work.
Yeah, or you know, when you're watching the college admission scandal. And they go into the athletic director's office at Stanford, and he's just watching basketball games during meetings and shit. You know, that sounds like a nice little vibe.
Oh, yeah, when he's not paying attention and he's just watching the basketball game.
These fucking guys.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's feeling good, Chris. The only thing that I need to worry about now is I worry that I'm going out, and I'm not used to going out and outdoor dining. And, you know, a full packed social calendar. It kind of came a little out of nowhere. It's
coming hard and fast, like a fastball.
The acclimation process has been a little tough for me. I went from, you know, my partner and I, you know, every day we'll walk the dog and then decide which, you know, cool, healthy meal are we going to cook that night. And now it's like, okay, I got this dinner on here. We're going to this guy's house this day. We got a reservation on Friday. I have to start rationing out my alcohol consumption so I'm not, you know, getting drunk every night.
With this breakneck podcast schedule and my other professional commitments as well as social commitments, I am feeling spread thin as well, but it's a good thin. You know, like most thins, it's a good thin. Except for, you know, there's 3 thins. There's body, wheat, and there's a few other ones. But wheat might be my favorite.
That's right.
If I had to
choose.
The
bad thins, you know, hair. That's about it.
That's actually is about it. Yeah, I can't think of another one.
Love a wheat thing.
I guess wallet. You know, maybe, but you know, I guess like you know, pockets looking thin.
I like a slim wallet design. You know what I mean? Man on the go, like myself.
Don't start. What's that wallet that Tim Dillon advertises for? I thought you were about to launch into it. Ridge wallet. Ridge wallet.
You know, nothing wrong with a low profile design Ridge wallet, available in lots of different colors.
Can you bleep out? Can you bleep out Ridge Wallet, please? I don't want to give them free bands. But yeah, the social calendar is bouncing back, and I saw someone from New York yesterday who had been in LA for a few days, and he's saying that LA still feels like less loose than New York.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Vibe wise.
Yeah, because we have the option of, you know, having our clandestine meetings, and you don't really get to do that so much in New York. You kind of have to go out to places unless you know somebody who has a big ass house.
Luckily I do. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't know that many people with big ass houses. Unfortunately, I would love to go to a big ass house with a pool.
You know, plenty of rich New Yorkers, and you know, they don't really have huge houses. That's just how it goes over there.
Well, you got to pump that money into your house out east. You know, Jason, not to put you onto the terminology, but I think you need to get, you know, honestly, after doing this podcast for a year with you, I do see some holes in your New York knowledge. And I think it's time you get back to the Big Apple and reacclimate yourself with the city so nice they named it twice.
What kind of holes are we talking about, Chris?
I don't know, man. I just feel like I can, you know, I've got a real grip on Los Angeles and the surrounding areas from spending time with locals and you know, maybe
look, I knew what First and First was when you fucking guys were talking about it.
No, you did not. You thought it was a vaccine term.
I don't know more than you, but you know, I've at least been to Brooklyn, where I know that you don't know anything about other parts of New York.
No, I know a lot about Brooklyn. It looks like shit. It takes a long time to get there. There's a few good restaurants. That's what more do I need to know? I mean, I think that you could use. I think you need a
refresher.
Kind of, you know, we need to pick. You know, well, we could pick you up and just drop you and let you figure out your way. You know, like we're gonna just drop you at First and First with no iPhone, and you got to go.
I've done that before, where I've picked myself up and dropped myself in New York, and then walked like I would go uptown to some, like, you know, restaurant that I was meaning to check out, and then just be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna walk all the way back downtown or whatever. It'll take 2 hours.
Oh God, don't do this. I'm gonna start crying. My move used to be I'd take the train uptown to hit, you know, Gagosian and then the Row, and then, you know, maybe have a bite at San Ambrose uptown, maybe hit, and then you walk down, you hit Barney's, maybe you have lunch at Barney's, a classic at RIP Fred's, and then you just keep walking. I've done that. I used to do that every Saturday. The difference is, Jason, I was absolutely zonked out on pills. So it did make me feel like I was floating, but also moving my body. It's a very strange sensation to be like zonked, but like feel like be exerting energy and be like a little sweaty, because if you walk that much, no matter what the temperature is, you're going to be a little, you know what I mean?
Get a little
you're
ripe
moving.
under the pits. That's odd, because for me, when I'm zonked out on pillies, it is, I'm sad that I have to get up and fill up my glass of water or use the restroom, let alone traverse through.
Yeah, there's two things, Jason. There's called recreational drug users and then functioning drug addicts. So let me make that differentiation for you, not to mansplain.
Yeah, but I mean, a functioning drug addict, they'll do that walk because they have to, not because they want to. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something. What feels better? What feels better than being zonked out on oxys, surrounded by beautiful clothing in a rich neighborhood? That's it for me.
But did you ever get so zonked out that you would just pull the card out and just run it? We don't look at price. You never blacked out and woke up surrounded by a bunch of row bags and being like, what did I get myself into?
No, I've never
time?
blacked out and accidentally. Chris, did you buy another Richard Prince? I told you not to do that. I told you not to go there with the card. But yeah, I miss Uptown. It's a different. The air is different. The vibe is different. But it was we'll be back soon.
I'll be back soon. We're warming up over there, right?
We're warming up, baby. It's time to go back. I mean, it's about time. We're not just going to Indianapolis. Let me say that. You know what I mean? It's time for us to get back on road. Honestly, it's partly, this show takes a lot out of us, but we got to be inspired, Jason. Like other artists, we must be inspired. When
they say like, hey, like, where do you find out what you write about, writer? J.K. Rowling, and
yeah.
Unless you go out and experience life and the world, you will have nothing to give when the microphone is hot.
In the words of Morrissey, Jason, and that you've quoted recently, I want to see people, I want to see life.
And it has to be, everyone needs to see people and needs to see life, but a true artiste, they want to do it. And that's kind of the difference.
They want to do it, and they want the people to be hot. That's the difference as well. Not to make it.
I want to see people, and I want to see life, as long as those people are not fatties.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's understood. I think that's understood on this podcast. But yeah, I'm looking forward, because those benches on Larchmont are great, but damn, I think my ass has indented those things. You know what I mean? I think they put a plaque that says Chris Black fucking politicked here, you know what I mean? 2020 to 2021.
Pollied here.
I pollied here. But yesterday, bro, did you really go get him? Tiger closes at 4 p.m.?
Isn't that when Maru closes too? Or maybe not. Maybe they stay open a little bit later.
I don't like that. Like, I think a coffee shop should open at 5 a.m. and close at 5 p.m.
Okay, so 4, crazy. 5, okay.
5 is the official end of the workday. I mean, LA, the official end of the workday is it never begins, but in theory...
Okay, no, I mean, I guess,
offense.
I mean, I'm sure maybe at some point they stayed up until 5, and then, they ran the numbers.
Yeah, it could be a COVID.
I mean, maybe initially you run the numbers and you're like, well, between the hours of 4 and 5, we made $38, and we paid $300 in labor or whatever. It ain't worth it. That's just how it goes. And also, the life of a barista or you got a lot to do.
Well, you got to get to band practice.
Exactly.
You got to your acting coach. You're late. You got to buy paints. Your watercolors dried up over the weekend.
We'll talk to Tinker when we hit Indianapolis and see what hours those baristas keep. I feel like they might be a little bit more about their grown man BI.
Tinker, by the way, Tinker's opening at the airport, which is a big move. That's very cool.
JFK?
No, the airport in Indianapolis.
I know.
Right.
It was
but I that's the big local business flex to be at the airport.
Some of my business ideas that I'm, building out the pitch deck to send over to Sweet Green soon, sniff around, see if we can get any seed cash. But obviously the goal for all my F&B adventures is once you get syndicated in those airports, we're printing money.
That's when you start. If you want to get money, today's guest would be a good place to start, Jason. If you want to pitch something,
I will. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole point of this episode. I'll be coming at him hat in hand, saying, "Please, sir."
This is How Long Gone Shark Tank edition, with the genius retailer triple OG legend Millard, aka Mickey Drexler. who is you probably
suck at business of fashion.
Yes, you losers. So it's, Mickey is a classic New York retail guy who I've had the pleasure of knowing for the last 3 or 4 years, where he will call me out of the blue and ask me a lot of questions in a fun way that is engaging, which is kind of what a podcast is. I realize now that I say that. But no, Mickey was on the board of Apple with Steve Jobs. Mickey, resurrected the Gap. He made J. Crew cool again.
Started Ann Taylor. He started Old Navy. He named Old Navy. Old Navy.
He named Old Navy, which is a very good name. He now has a business with his son and a designer named Somsak called Alex Mill. You can find that stuff online, and they have a store in Soho. But Mickey is down in Miami like a good snowbird. So let's tap in with the god and see if it's time for us to expand the How Long Gone empire.
Yes. Let us.
You're looking good, mate.
Thank you.
What happened to all the hair?
Well, I took it off, and it's freeing, as you can relate. You know what I mean? It's just nice to have this closely cropped. You know what I mean? It feels good.
Yeah. Well, I had no choice. Start. I didn't start. Oh, okay. Start. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Mickey, right. Mickey, when's the last time you had some hair?
Let me see, Jason. I would say, you know what happened? Like some hair?
I guess a full head of hair.
Oh no, not thick. In fact, I used to get my hair cut regularly. In fact, a long time ago, 30 years ago, someone who cut my hair then said, "Just take it off." You do this and you do that, and
like you got an old car, and they're like, the mechanic's like, just sell the thing.
Yeah, and I started a year ago to cut my own hair. I used to pay someone to do this, and then and then he came up to see me in the apartment, and my wife says, "Who's that?" I said, "It was a new guy because we were traveling." And that was the last haircut I had. Now I just use a little mini shaver. And
bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
I like the process of hitting the barber, the relationship, the fade that I'm doing it every 10 days, which does feel aggressive, but also, it's a treat for me. It's a personal pleasure is how I look at it.
Yeah. Well, I did it every 7 days, and I thought I needed to do it professionally. And he's been cutting my hair off and on for 25, 30 years. When I did an Annie Leibovitz shoot a million years ago is when I met him.
Mickey, I love a set haircut is what we call that, and that's the best kind.
Yeah.
It feels glamorous.
Yeah. So, and then I realized that, I'll cut it again soon. Every week I take the mini shaver and I cut it.
Well, it looks good.
So,
it looks the same as Chris's, doesn't it?
Hey.
You're right. No, Chris is shorter. And the debate I have now is, do I take the attachment off the mini shaver and just really
mask off is what we call that.
We call that mask off. I would say go for it. I think you'll feel free.
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
I think you'll feel free.
Right after this, I'm going to go do it. Exactly.
Are you in New York? Are you in Miami? Where in the world are we?
I'm in Miami, and I've been here most of the winter. We went back to New York twice. Where are you, in L.A. or?
Yeah, we're both in LA. I've been here for a while. I went back to New York for a little bit myself. I was in Atlanta before that. But we're thinking about taking a little trip to Miami. It's calling us, I think. A little group trip.
Yeah, I like it here. Well, I think I like it because of the weather also. And we've all gotten into the habit of working wherever you are.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. Yeah, it's cool.
What do you think about this remote work? As a guy who's been in offices for a very long time, is it easy to get used to, or are you having a difficult time with it?
No, I Zoom, and I'm not a computerish person at all. Mm-hmm. I Zoom. You changed from whatever we're supposed to do to Zoom.
You're comfortable in the Zoom platform.
100%. But I'm not in Google whatever. And this morning I went to see a technical guy to prepare myself for Google whatever it's called.
Hold on. You went to see a technical guy to prepare to podcast with us using Google Meet.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
MEET, not MEAT.
Yeah, just to be clear.
different search.
But it's basically Zoom, just, Google owned. It's very similar.
I know, but I don't know. I never done it. So I was, I worry too much about things like that. But I find working, I'd much rather be in an office. But we're getting it done pretty well through Zoom. I was in the office last week, and when you touch and feel and you're with the team, it's much more spontaneous on creativity than it is. But it's been fine. And I think a lot of people are used to it. Yeah. And the world goes on. And I'm okay with it, which is why, if I ever moved somewhere, I'm not worried. People have gotten into a habit of working where they are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And and what's going on down here is wild. I mean, people are moving like crazy.
Yeah, you're in the middle of spring break right now, right?
Well, yeah, because it's really it's crazy what's going on downtown, but I haven't been there, or whatever they call Miami, where it's happening.
Right.
You stay off the beach during the day. You let the students have that.
You know how many years it's been since I've been on a beach?
What do you say? What do you do? What are you doing then? What are you, a pool guy? You don't go to the beach?
No, I'm a New York City. I work. I like wherever I am. I work. I don't go on the beaches. It's boring, and I don't want sand all over me. So
but do you like looking at a beach, Mickey?
I love looking at the water. That's what I love doing. Yeah, I do. I love looking at the water. It's very peaceful and calms me. It calms me.
Yeah, I mean, I like going to Miami. You go to Soho House, hit the private beach, get you a little chair, maybe take an edible, and just watch the world go by. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't have the patience. I have, there's a Yiddish term called spilkus. Ants in your pants.
Sure. That's Thank you for giving us the Gentile version. I've heard that before.
Spilkus.
I'm not a big beach guy either, but I do love the ocean. The restorative properties of the salt water, I think, are quite good for me. But what are you doing activity wise when you're not working in that warm weather? Are you on the tennis court? Are you on the golf course?
No, I joined a golf club here, and I played twice, and I hurt my back. I hadn't played since I was a teenager. I wasn't bad. So I joined the club. I went out myself once, and I kept missing the ball because I was swinging too hard. And I ended up being 2 or 3 weeks in physical therapy. And I said, this is not worth it. I went to see a back doctor, my wife's back doctor, and he said, he's a big golfer, terrific guy, about my age-ish. He says, don't play golf. Don't try to be good at it, and just drop it because you're going to hurt yourself. And that was it.
That's good advice. I like that.
So what I do is, I don't do a lot. I work. I like to work. I walk. I go to Soul Cycle, which is here.
My man.
And I like to schmooze.
Mickey, I mean, you and I have a very similar track in life, and I love to hear it. I love to schmooze too. That's probably my favorite hobby. It's been taken away from us.
Well, it has been, but now it's coming back slowly. I love to talk to people, and I learn, and that's what I like to do. I used to ski. I stopped skiing last year because I almost injured myself, and I'm saying, wait, if I'm going to fall on the mountain, I don't want to do that.
If you're going to hurt yourself playing golf, then skiing, definitely.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's high risk activity for you.
I used to play a lot of tennis, and I stopped that because, again, I was injured. I played very competitively, not meaning I'm a great player at all. I just was competing a little beyond my capabilities.
You're a guy who wants to win, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I like to win, and so I stopped, and it's kind of, I'm okay. With what I do, which is plenty, nothing very athletic anymore. Yeah.
What's your culinary expertise? Are you in the kitchen?
Never.
Who's cooking for you? Are you a restaurant guy, or is somebody cooking for you at the house?
Someone cooks for us. Someone cooks for us. Yeah,
that's what. So Jason's an incredible cook, and I think when this podcast really explodes and our pockets get nice and fat, I'm going to actually pay him to cook for me. It's going to be a weird situation, because we split the duties here, but I couldn't have anybody else cooking for me.
Well, let's get it to explode.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why you're on here, Drexler. Yeah, that's what you're helping us.
What is your? Yeah, I mean, look, I know this podcast unfortunately does not have a retail component yet. But there's other strategies that we can discuss while we have you. If you have the good schmooze component, if you're honest, if you're not full of it,
if you're not performing and bullshitting, people love that. And most people are not direct and honest. So I think we're all tired of people performing when they're on whatever they're on.
The ancient art of schmoozing feels like it's kind of gone the way of the dodo as time progresses. What do you think?
I think most people are always play acting. I agree. Most people aren't open and honest. And when I hear someone being open, honest, and we all have issues we deal with, I like people who tell you what their issues are. They're not hiding. They're not trying to be extra smart or extra rich and extra this or extra that. I like down to earth. I grew up in the Bronx. I loved, I didn't know fancy people when I grew up, and I don't know if I knew bullshitters or not, because everyone was kind of the same. But I always had an eye for bullshit. It's an instinct.
Yeah.
And so you do a real show, you talk to people, and you're honest and open. I think it works, and there's not enough people like that. So for whatever this is worth,
God bless you.
What do you think of the medium of podcasting in general? Is it something you participate? I mean, I know you've been a guest on many shows, but do you listen to them as well?
I'm very bad at editing my life in that regard, or reading the right books. I don't listen, and I don't have the patience. I have the patience of 10 minutes here and 5 minutes there.
Mm-hmm.
Someone today asked me for all my podcasts. So, of course, I will now include this.
That'd be great.
When you appear on podcasts, do you go back and listen to yourself, or does that sound like a nightmare to you?
Never. Not that it sounds like a nightmare. It's okay. I was very happy what I wrote for Colin yesterday. First, a woman who does, she's terrific. She wrote it for me, and then I rewrote the whole thing because I said, I wanted to focus it in. I wanted to be open about, I always say, who are you? You are what you start with as a child. When someone says, well, how'd you get to do what you do? I said, let me tell you about my parents, my growing up, this pain and suffering, the good stuff, the bad stuff. But you don't hear much of that.
Are you saying is it time for the book? Like, when are we getting the book? Because it sounds like that's what you're warming up for.
Well, no, the truth is I started one about 2 years ago, and I just didn't have the patience, and the writer didn't get me at all. And whatever I said, he tried to repeat what I said. It didn't work. I read it, and I think I have a lot to say to young people and even older people who are in business or in life, because my life, I don't look at it as anything special or this, that, and the other thing, but I like to teach. I like to mentor. I like to tell people what my experiences are, because no one ever told me a thing. Ever. When I was growing up, I didn't have, people who give you advice, mentor you, which is fine. I never realized when you get to be older and more comfortable in your life, your parents always have someone who will go see so-and-so. They're smart. They do this. I wasn't like that when I grew up in the 50s. It just wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, I think we need it to an extent. I think that young people are, searching for answers, specifically career-wise, maybe more than ever. And I think that the industries that we work in also seem sort of impenetrable to a lot of people. It seems intimidating. It seems very hard to break in. I started working in retail. That was my first job, really. You know what I mean? So,
where? Where'd you work?
It was an independent store. It was like a boutique in Atlanta, a small streetwear store. I had sneakers and stuff.
Not Sid Mashburn, right?
No, this predated Sid. Jason though did work at where'd you work, Jason? Anthropology?
Sears. I worked at Sears and then at Anthropology.
What? Wait, as like a career, full-time thing, or?
No, I was in high school at the time when I was working at Sears.
Oh, I see.
I was selling paint.
Great thing to do. I always say, be a server in a restaurant, work in a store, learn how to get your ass kicked a bit, and learn what life's about. And then, most people don't do that. They don't want to do that. It's beneath them. It's this, that, or the other thing. It's crazy. That's called work, and it's great work for a young person who starts. I see so many resumes, and I say to them, thousands, and I say, is this the resumes? I say, so this is geared for you to get a good job. The whole thing is, did you volunteer in this, or are you passionate about it? Give me a good server, a waitress or a waiter,
I
or
agree.
someone who worked at Sears.
Yeah, though with that retail experience, restaurant experience, you learn how you learn what makes other people happy and how to give them that happiness, and then keep it moving on to the next one.
Yep. Where did you grow up?
Orange County, California.
Oh, really? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris, where did you grow up?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You spend any time in Orange County, Mickey? Fashion Island, South Coast Plaza.
Every shopping mall. Yeah, right. Every.
Actually, that's
Everyone
what we
in the
need,
area.
Mickey. We need the Mickey Drexler official ranking of best shopping malls in America, because I got my list, and I need to hear it from an expert.
Well, I would probably alienate most of my former landlord friends, but what do you have as a favorite shopping mall? I was here at Bal Harbor yesterday.
Bal Harbor, not bad. Bal Harbor's not bad.
I went.
The pain in your face. You act like I said something about your mom. You look.
No, first of all, I walked in. No one was in the garage. Look, I could be very critical. I start with myself on criticism, and then I say, because I'm a service retailer, the parking lot was a mess. No, it was very crowded yesterday. I don't know why I went. My wife and I looked at each other after 15 minutes and said, "We're out of here." Why? The guitar player was way too noisy. The parking lot was a mess until you found a spot. No one was directing. And frankly, and this is all the stores are the same everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, my favorite is probably South Coast Plaza here in Orange County. I think just the sheer amount of stores that go from every range is very impressive. I mean, there's 3 Louis Vuitton stores in one wing to cover the different departments. It's insane. But it's also like a playground. The Galleria in Houston, Lenox in Atlanta. Those are probably my.
You're telling me you like, I always thought you're like the coolest, hippest guy in the world. And now you're giving me these shopping malls.
It's in our DNA, though.
Let me explain something to you on mic here. I contain multitudes. The mall, I think if you grow up in a suburb or a mall culture, it feels like a warm hug to go to the mall. I don't go often, but when I do, it feels good to go.
The mall that I grew up working at, if I went to it now, it's an absolute shithole. It looks like it's barely hanging on. But, when I was a little kid in the 80s walking around, that was the epicenter of everything.
Which mall is it?
That was the Westminster Mall.
Oh, yeah, it's horrible.
It was horrible, but if you look at photos of it in 1988, it's a dream come true.
Look, you probably didn't have much to compare it to either, and it's fine. By the way, better. That's why if I grew up with, like, I never been to a mall in my life till I was, I don't know what age, because I bought my clothes at a little store under the elevated subway, and that was my mall. I went there twice a year, and I never, it's funny, I never went to a mall. I don't know. I think the first time was when I took my first grown-up job at Bloomingdale's.
Like in California, it's very different because they have the outdoor mall, which is,
Right.
like in Florida too. That's something that I never experienced until I was in my early 20s and came to California the first time. But I think here that like Brentwood Country Mart kind of style and that thing is technically a mall, but doesn't feel like one in the same way.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we're moving towards, in a way. And there's one of those in Atlanta now too, north of the city, where it's basically a mall, but it's outside and it's a little nicer.
Well, I agree. I think those are kind of cool and the right place to shop. Although I never shop anyway. I don't shop, so I don't know.
But you like to do a Mickey Drexler retail report, right? Like you like to go check stuff out, just look at it, see it, feel it.
Kick the tires.
I do that, but today online makes it so easy to check stuff out.
But it's not the same. It's not the same. We got to get the hand feel.
No, it's so rare that I walk into a store today and I get turned on. It's rare.
I agree. I agree.
Part of the turn on, a great store is like a great painting. And, you feel it shopping stores for 1,000 years. And when I see something I like, I get turned on because I fall in love with it. It's got to have the right merchandise. I don't care what else about a store is right. It's got to have cool stuff. But I don't really shop stores a lot. I do go online to check things out.
But when's the last time you've been in a store and it was like, damn, they did this right?
I'm trying to think.
Not your own stores. This can't be a store that you have any financial.
I have one store. My own stores. I used to have thousands. I have one, and
okay.
One store, and I think it's pretty cool. By the way, Alex knows.
I would hope so. If you didn't, we'd have a problem.
Yeah, no, it's a cool store, and actually, I'm going to say, objectively, it's my favorite store, and because we did it, we treat it like I'm a proprietor. My job is running a store. And 1 or 1,000, it equals the same thing. But I'm trying to think of, yesterday after 10 minutes, I left Bell Harbor because I want to get inspired. Maybe I missed a few shops. I didn't get inspired. But if the product is great, then I get inspired. And then I also have a thing about prices. I look at a price tag and I'm thinking, $2,000 for that or whatever for that. And then it's not great again. Look, I love Hermes.
Don't we all?
I love their products. I love their integrity of not being on sale. I love their leather goods. That's a store that if I went shopping, but that's my favorite shop. Now, of course, you have to qualify. For me, I was X years old before I could afford Hermes, just like when I was buying Turnbull shirts or whatever. You get to a certain age, I can afford this now. Because I grew up with no money and like most people, I guess. And who's going to shop in those stores? And then you didn't stretch yourself to buy anything in those stores. Not that it wasn't even a thought. But Hermes is probably always my favorite.
They make a great Apple Watch band.
Yeah, that's Jason's favorite Hermes product. Oh, they make other stuff? I didn't know they made saddles. I thought it was just watch bands.
Saddles. In fact, I bought my first or second purchase was a saddle, not for me, but I bought my friend a gift. He was a rider, and I bought him a saddle because he did me a huge favor. So that's one of the best gifts I've ever heard of. Well, I'll tell you why. Because he helped me negotiate my deal with Gap.
Okay, yeah.
And
I see. So you had to cut him. Yeah, that makes sense. He did deserve that saddle. He might have deserved a little more.
He's one of my best friends.
Now that you
forever,
say that, Hermes saddle seems a little light, Mickey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Hold on one second.
By the way, I don't want anyone to think like I only go to Hermes.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I once I buy something, I keep it forever. And I think like maybe boys and men, when they dress a certain way, it stays that way for their whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
So my whole life I've been wearing the same clothes every day. So I went from chinos maybe to jeans to my shirts. I haven't bought a new woven shirt probably in 15 years.
Are you a uniform dresser, Steve Jobs style?
Every day of my life.
Same
every
pair
day.
of socks, same underwear, all that stuff.
Mickey, you like to throw a little flair in there though. Come on.
Yeah. If I find, I'll tell you the best 3 jackets I bought in my life. I'm like vintage now. So when you get to be vintage, all the things that you say are vintage, I wear them as new. So I bring in an overcoat yesterday. Not yesterday. I was in New York last week. So Samsak, our designer,
shout out to Samsak.
Yeah. And my son, Alex, you got to shout out to Alex, who started the company. My son and Samsak, they're my bosses, or I'm their bosses, however. So I'm wearing last Tuesday when I was in New York, a Helmut Lang camel overcoat.
Okay.
Samsak says, "Where'd you get that?" I said about 35 years ago, Joseph in London. He says, "I love that." I said, "I love it too." And he took the coat. So I have my built-in vintage collection because I don't throw things out. And anything I buy, even when I was a young kid and I didn't have money, I buy nice stuff. I buy all nice stuff. So, but I have like a Hermes. I don't want to talk about Hermes. It's kind of obnoxious to talk about Hermes here. So,
Well, look, unfortunately, our listening base, I would say a small percentage could possibly afford Hermes on after the holidays maybe or so, after a bonus came in. But yeah, we're a little more down market than that, I would say, on the show.
No, I don't want to. But see, I amortize my clothes, and I think when you buy something quality, you wear my shirts are all 2004 to 2011. And then you amortize the shirts over all those years. It's not an expensive shirt.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a great deal. No, but cost per wear is what we call
exactly.
that.
You can't afford not to buy them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And I also, at some point in your life, you start to be able to treat yourself a little more indulgently than you might before. So, but I don't do that. I do.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there now, Mickey. And I went into, I was having this issue in LA where I was having to transport keys, wallet, cash, phone, all of these other, things to and from the car, and I just didn't like to weigh down my pockets. So I needed some sort of small leather good, like a small attaché, let's say, to carry this stuff.
A gentleman's pouch.
A gentleman's pouch. Some would call it a clutch. Let's just keep it real. It's a clutch.
Right.
And I went to the Louis Vuitton store on Saturday and I found exactly what I wanted. And as soon as I bought it wasn't even expensive, but as soon as I bought it, I felt instant guilt. I felt crazy.
Right.
Like I felt like, did I do the right thing? Why did I do this? I don't really need this. We're talking about like $500. It's not a big deal, but I instantly felt this weird feeling that like I didn't need this and it was really extravagant,
Well, it makes you feel good. By the way, I'm feeling a little guilty here. So I want to explain to whoever listens to this. I grew up in the Bronx. I shopped at Joe Tuckman on Allerton Avenue for the first 15 years of my life. I then went to Pelham Parkway and shopped at a little men's store. I didn't grow up wearing any of that stuff or buying that stuff. I just want to put it that way.
Well, if you grew up wearing Hermes, you'd be more of an asshole than you are now. It'd be scary.
Yeah, right.
That'd be terrifying. So thank God thank God you didn't.
I don't want people to think, oh, look at this guy, whatever he's on here. No,
but it's a strange feeling because I know that I'm going to have this thing forever. It's very useful. Right. It's of the highest quality. It'll last forever. But I still feel this weird. I feel weird about buying it because it doesn't feel like me in some ways. Yeah, it doesn't feel like me in some ways.
It takes time to start to indulge yourself and whatever. But I'm an investment buyer in whatever I buy. That's how I feel about things. So when you ask, there are good stores around. I just don't really bother going to most stores because I don't get a buzz. I need a buzz. So when I see a store like 45 RPM,
great store.
To me it was my art store in the sense art meaning beautiful. The clothes are beautiful, crazy expensive.
Yes, the prices are also beautiful.
Price and there it's clothes and it's. They're not that unique to pay 5 times what they're worth. But that store is always, that's one of my favorites.
That's a good cut. That's a good cut though. Cause I think a lot of people like our mutual friend, Jake Davis, put me on to 45 RPM when I moved to New York. I had never heard of it before in the mid aughts. But that's a true retail experience. Like you walk in there and you feel like you entered a different world.
It's kind of a work of art. And I have to call what my friend Gary Friedman has done is extraordinary restoration hardware.
Yeah.
Which I knew Gary since he was 26 years old, and I've just been stunned at what he's created. So knowing him and his history, when I walk into a restoration hardware, I say, oh my God, what, I call Gary up. He calls me his mentor. I said, Gary, you're my mentor now. But, I admire anyone who is creative, has a certain sense of style and a point of view in their shops.
Are you keeping up with current designers, though? Or how on top of it are you?
I have no idea. No, I don't keep up. No, I don't keep up. I think not at all, because by definition, a lot of keeping up with the designer is their perspective. And, I in my career, I always felt, why am I paying so much money for something because someone else designs it and then the price is doubled? Do you know how all that works at retail?
Of course, sure.
I keep up with people who I think are terribly creative. I look at what Samsak does. I admire him, and he's a wonderful guy. And I keep up, and when we're inventing a collection, well, look, I was on at the Apple board, Johnny Ives with Steve Jobs. You watched what the two of them did, which was quite brilliant. I watched them. I didn't appreciate the 16 years I was there, probably. But, they taught everyone a lesson in terms you don't need big assortments. You need the best products in the world, and maybe you have 5 of them. So I've been doing this for so long and have been so exposed to so many different businesses that when it's special and unique, I always have great respect. And I respect a lot of companies that build themselves up.
How does someone get on the board of Apple? Like, how did that even come about?
Well, and I also want to say the other business I really love is Warby Parker, which I'm on the board of, because I think that's a brilliant business. How did it happen? I'll tell you. It's interesting. I don't know how interesting it is.
We'll be the judge of that, Mickey.
Yeah, we'll let you know. Trust me.
Okay.
We'll cut you off
I was at a mutual friend's birthday party in Napa Valley. We used to live in San Francisco, while I was at Gap Corporation, and Steve was at the party. So I really didn't know Steve. I knew him but not. So he comes up, we're schmoozing, and he calls me. He was asking me questions. Then he wanted to meet, or he got back to me, asked me to join the board of Apple. So I said...
Must have been a good schmooze there, Mickey.
Yeah, one of the dumbest answers I gave was, I have no interest in being on a public board. Hello. So...
Not for me.
Nah, I'm good.
So Steve and I kept chatting, and he was cool. He says, he asked me to join the board 2 or 3 times, and I said no, because my IQ didn't get raised at all while he was asking me. This is 1999. And he just came back, and I'm at Gap. And one of the things he did is he gave me, I'll never forget, I ran into him. He says, by the way, can you sign this for my children? They really admire you. An autograph. He was good. He's good. By the way, one thing about Steve that no one ever says, best seducer in the world. Doesn't give up, and he has a charm when he wants it. And I loved Steve, by the way. I so admired him. And I admired his, just his genius and no one gives him, he's 5 years or 6 years ill and doing his job every day. I mean, we watched him, So anyway, about a year later, he says, I'll tell you what, I'll join the Gap board if you join the Apple board. And I said, we have a deal. Why am my friend here? This is not at Gap. But as Bob knows, Bob Fisher, who we're friendly with all these years, I said, I would love to have Steve on the board, because the board was, let's say, friends of the chairman and connected and all. And I didn't really have a board member. So I said to Steve, deal. And so I went on his board. He joined our board. Well, I knew he'd be impossible to live with as a board member. He never joined the board. And he joined our board. Total pain in the ass. He was great about it. And he was very vocal when he had to be. And I sat there so enjoying the show. Why he wanted me on his board, and sometimes I don't think of the obvious, hello. He wanted me to help him get into the retail business. And the first thing we did together was design a store. And I suggested he build a store in a warehouse instead of going to a shopping mall and building a store. So I don't know if he had the warehouse, he rented it. And his first effort before I joined the board was horrible. And I always have a simple point of view about a store. The goods should speak. It's got to be simple, and don't overbuild a store. Anyway, long story short, that was the store he rolled out. And I was his retail buddy. And so I was on the board. When he passed away, it was hard for me to stay on the board just because I missed him a lot.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. And I watched him, we all watched him invent and be a genius almost until the day he passed away. And what a brave guy in what he did. I mean, God, it was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. That's how I met him. And I miss him, and I miss what he would have done in this world had he lived.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They should have taken Gates instead of Jobs is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, the two happiest days in his life. Because, a lot of people, me included, when you work hard and you pushing, you don't give yourself a break. Steve never gave himself a break. The first time I'm like, gee, what a good day for Steve, or a good hour. Michael Dell, once said Steve should close down Apple.
This is from Dell Computers, I'm assuming?
You're right. And Michael said that quite publicly from what I understand. And Steve, the day his market value exceeded that of Dell, was a celebratory day for him. A year or two or whatever later, the next time when it exceeded Microsoft's value, happiest day I've ever seen Steve in my life with him. So, he was a great competitor.
You got to have that, I feel like.
You have to be at that level. Level.
Yeah, you do. And like most people like him, no one was ever good enough. And, special guy, very unique.
Mickey, what are you investing in these days? Because I know you got your hands in a bunch of shit. So,
well, I had.
We don't need to go through the portfolio necessarily, but it would be nice.
No, that's all right. You can come to my next quarterly asset meeting. It's okay.
Great, thank you.
I'll tell you,
Send us the Zoom link, please.
Besides Warby Parker, I invest, but I have someone else does it for me. What I do that I know I do is Alex Mill. So when people say, what do you want to invest in? And I'll tell you why. It's interesting. I always wanted to own a company. I owned companies theoretically or whatever, but I always had someone there who owned more of it, or it was a private equity, or it was this. So here I am funding the company with Alex, my son, and my daughter. So I don't have to go to someone who's going to start telling me what to do because they have a piece of the action or whatever. And then they tell you how to run your business. Very few people really know how to run a garment business or a fashion business. So much of our business is instinct, feel. You can't explain instinct and feel, maybe to most financial people. They only understand the balance sheet and the inventory levels, the losses, the gains, and how much money they will make. So I'm only doing Alex Mill. I fund it. I'm always listening and I walk around and I learn, but I don't have someone who actually is an investor who I have to kind of listen to. And when I say listen to, you battle with people. And in our world, even I've seen it a million times, the movie, where in the fashion world, you have financial people running a fashion company. It doesn't work.
No, you're an intuition feeling kind of guy, and more of that and less, data and research and all these things. As time has progressed and you've been around it longer, have you come around to data and research analytics, or are you still a feeling guy?
You know what I say? I've been doing data and research my whole life. And now they have a name for it. What's that name they use?
Algorithm?
Algorithms, right. Since I was 23 years old or 22 at Bloomingdale's, I've done algorithms. I didn't call them that. I look today. Today I was looking at a selling report and I looked at the weeks on hand. And by the way, when you have to see around corners, no one will tell you what to go around corners and not buy pink. It doesn't happen that way. So I do it. I've been doing it my whole life. Give me a good merchant who has intuition, who sees around corners, and they're good in mathematics. They're good at forecasting. They have a sense. And I'll show you someone who does. I do algorithms. I just never called it that. And I think math is really important because today I'm looking at weeks on hand on reorders, and I'm thinking you sold 3 times as many of, say, the navy color as you did of the whatever color. So why are you buying the same amount of goods? Well, the factories sometimes need minimum orders, but I think it's not going to change ever for good merchants. Now, look at what's happened to the retail world. It's not a very exciting world, in my opinion.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So it really isn't, because where do you? I would love to go to stores and shop if I shopped.
What do you feel about like the multi-brand, like the Dover Street Market, the Just One Eye, the RIP Toto Kayo, like that kind of? Is there a place for that anymore, or is that over?
I think anything you can buy in multiple locations in multiple companies is over. I've said this for 20 plus years. I recognize it. I'll tell you, when I was really young, I worked for the department stores, and across the street from Bloomingdale's, you guys wouldn't know Alexander's. So I'm at Bloomingdale's buying my T-shirts, sweaters, and women's bathing suits. That was my first buying job. If so-and-so put it on sale, we had to meet the price.
Yeah.
I said, this is no way to build a business that you can own. My next job was running Ann Taylor. I was a young guy. I look at Brooks Brothers then, and Brooks Brothers has not been good for how many years?
A very long time.
But Brooks Brothers, Benetton, companies like that, they didn't have to worry about who put their goods on sale and who carried it. So I look at Brooks Brothers and I remember their profit margins were wildly high. Why? One markup and no one carrying their goods. I took Ann Taylor and said, this is what I want to be. I don't want to be buying anyone else's goods, because when I bought someone else's goods and it was on sale someplace, I had competition, built-in competition, and my margins were low. So what do I think of all those companies? Show me a company who has unique clothes that you can't buy anyplace else, and then that's where it starts for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now we do sell some stores, because we have to. We're too small not to sell.
Well, it's good I say that's good for marketing. That's what that is. That's an expense.
It is.
There's a handful of stores that you want to be in that look good for the customer, We
sell Mohawk. I don't know. I see Mohawk. Very cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
In LA, is it? Or
Yeah. I mean, it's LA, so people dress like shit, but there's, they're doing their best. You know what I mean? They're doing their best. They're selling stuff. I mean, I think that they sell stuff that seems very expensive at one time. It seemed very expensive in that neighborhood at one time, and now I think the income of the residents has caught up with the price point of the store.
Yeah,
you don't want to drive across town to get. I mean, now Dree's opened a store, but like at one point, if you're in Silver Lake and you got bread, you can go down the street and get all your Dree's versus having to drive to Beverly Hills or something.
Yeah,
so that's a real. You're filling a void in the market in some ways there.
Yeah, and if someone can edit their assortments really well, it's worth going.
That's a skill.
To the store.
That's a skill.
Look, I remember running to Fred Siegel. I go to L.A. I always say I've been to the mountain, with Fred Siegel, because it was in its day. My God,
I would go there just to people watch.
Yeah, the people watching, incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah.
What kind of car were you driving in like 90s San Francisco?
90s San Francisco. My daily driver, which I just sold, by the way, was an 83 Porsche Carrera.
Ooh.
That was my driver.
What color?
Off-white with brown interior.
Ooh.
Oh, very tasteful. We love that. We love a cream.
A buttery selection, Mickey.
And what's it called? The Targa top. It was a Targa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in the 90s, I also had old Mercedes and some Porsches. They were so beautiful. And then I sold them because I didn't really like to drive them. They were kind of old cars. And
tough to get the Bluetooth to work.
Yeah, right.
So you don't have a Tesla?
No.
Do you have an aversion to Teslas, or are you on the
Not
waiting
at all.
list?
I'll tell you, my aversion is, given my neuroses, I'm going to worry I'm running out of time. And at least. I don't want
a metaphor for life. You're saying you don't want the Tesla to be a metaphor for life.
You're going to pass before the thing charges up all the way.
Yeah, right. I don't want to keep looking at the time, and I better rush here and rush there. I don't. It's another pressure to me. The gas tank's different. So here I drive 19. What do I have? A 2012 Jeep. The standard Jeep. What is it called?
A Wrangler?
A Wrangler.
No.
Cherokee.
Cherokee?
No, it's what's it called? The Jeep. Whatever. It's just this classic.
Wagoneer? Like, what are we talking about?
No, a Jeep like a Cherokee.
Or
whatever.
Okay.
So, by all and purpose, a fairly modest car for a man like yourself.
But it drives pretty well. Because I finish with my collections, and I'm looking for a new car right now, and it's very hard to find a well-designed, beautiful car. Although I'm looking, and I kind of like the new, what's it called? The new Range Rover. There's a model they just put out.
Discovery, the Land Rover Discovery, the new one.
Maybe the Velar. The Velar.
The Velar.
No. God forbid.
It's like a reissue of the old kind of boxy one from the 70s, a little modernized.
Yeah, kind of, but it's a really good-looking car. Really good looking.
I know what you're talking about.
I just got a car, and it was really a process, and I did not enjoy it that much, to be honest with you. But I feel like you find joy in it.
Yeah, what kind of car?
I got a BMW X5.
It's a good car, good solid driver, right?
Not bad.
That's what I am,
Good
Mickey.
car.
I'm just a good solid guy, and I need a car to match.
You know what my first car was? And I was a BMW 2002, 1973.
Beauty.
I love that car because I had so many problems with it.
Well, I don't imagine. Do you get down in the dirt under the engine? You don't strike me as the type.
Jewish guy down in the dirt under an engine? Are you kidding me? No.
You being down in the dirt, that's more when you're negotiating the sticker price, perhaps, then.
Right. No, I'm not. I don't like to negotiate. I just let someone else. I'm not good at it.
Okay.
For all my business stuff, I don't like it.
Give me the number, write the check, on with the day we go.
Yeah.
That's a good way to be.
Mickey, this conversation has just taught me a lot about myself. I'm seeing a lot of similarities here. I don't cook. I don't work on cars. Mm-hmm. I would prefer to pay the price and keep it moving myself as well. And I think this bodes well for my future.
Yeah, well, I got a lot more things you probably can identify with too. We haven't even scratched the surface.
I'm all ears, Drexler.
Jason loves to haggle at his local farmer's market. He doesn't want to pay full retail for those tomatoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people get a hard on going into a nice retail experience. I like raking them over the coals on the cost of a cherry tomato. You know what I mean?
Do you cook? You said you cook.
Oh yeah,
right?
all the time.
What do you make?
I've been cooking for Chris a lot lately. He's a vegetarian, so I got the tofu and the sprouts going a little bit.
By the way, I'm curious. On your show, you just schmooze along. Is that it? Like we do? Like we're doing?
That's it. Sometimes we have a laugh. Sometimes we get serious. But people like listening to the show because it's just like an honest documentation of a few people schmoozing, having a convo about anything and everything for an hour.
So yeah, because Kelsey, my assistant, she's a big listener. What do I turn to?
You go to Spotify, you go to Apple Podcast, whatever, and
I see,
and that's where you find it.
I would suggest maybe having someone in your orbit, download it onto your phone. Make it easy for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I don't know how to do any of that stuff, so I missed it all.
Do you use a You use a computer all day though? You send emails. I've gotten emails from you.
No, I use an iPad and an iPhone all day. I don't use a computer. I don't think I need them.
No.
But I don't know.
I mean, you're doing emails, you're texting, you're browsing the web. You can open documents. You can sign PDFs.
Yeah,
that's pretty much all you need right off the iPad.
What is your media diet looking like? Are you reading the New York Times on the iPad? Like, what are we doing on a day to day?
Fox News.
Day to day.
Yeah.
Yesterday, it's interesting. I don't know how it happened. I didn't have my case for the first time ever on my iPhone. Yesterday was Monday. On Sunday,
slipped off.
At the end of the day, it was cracked. The whole back was cracked. And I went to the Apple. I don't know why that happened. So I went to the iPhone store, $99 a new iPhone. Mm-hmm. I was out of pocket with my iPhone almost all day. And it was torturous. Really. And I had to finally, at the end of the day, because she told me to leave the store and then kind of connect this. I didn't know what she was talking about.
She said, sir, you need to leave the store. Stop, sir, you need to leave the store right now.
Right. So it was very hard, very tough day. So now I'm back to normal.
I couldn't be out of, I mean more, where are you getting your information from? Are you reading the New York Times, Business of Fashion, Hype Beast? Like, what are we looking at?
Don't read the Times anymore. I used to deliver the New York Times. I read it cover to cover. Mm-hmm. There's certain things I like to read, but the New York Times does not do much for me anymore. I think it's short and sweet announcements. I don't want to read mostly long things, long articles. I don't have patience at all to do that. So I like headlines. I like to schmooze with people, so you start to hear the news to a degree. And then I see the news online, just headlines and stuff.
Are you on Twitter? Are you on Twitter.com?
No.
Instagram?
Are you on Instagram.com?
I do Instagram, but not for the news.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I was trying to check the diet. So you're not on Reddit.
I just don't have the patience. And And I'm so skeptical about what I read anyway. It's just some person's opinion about something. That's what it is.
I do. That's exactly what it is.
And when I read something now, if it's about something I know about, it's like half of it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
When I read retail stuff, I'm saying, where'd they get that from? They get from 6 people they call all the time, and they give them quotes. So they're writing about someone else's opinions, and it's not their own anyway.
Do you get any pleasure from doing some hate reading, though? Chris likes to hate read or hate watch things. You know what I mean?
Well,
get a load of this guy type of reading.
Love that. love. Look, I don't root for sport teams. I root against them. So, it's based.
What an approach! I like that.
It's based on hate and politics.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's to the right of Attila, whatever, I hope they lose. So, that's it.
No, I'm the same way.
I'm feeling enlightened today, Jason. I'm feeling like I have a path to the top now. It feels like I can kind of follow. Did you feel like that? There's maybe a path for me here, or do you think I'm still too dumb?
No, I see it, Chris.
At a certain point in your life, it hits you that what you think is what it is, and what you think about that person is what it is. And when you're younger, they're the president of the company, they're the this, they're the that, they do this, they're rich, something. They're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
You got the bell curve of life,
mm-hmm.
for billionaires, for poor people, for doctors, for lawyers, for all of us. And at some point, you listen to what you think and not to what others say. So it takes time to get confident about what you think, or you want to say, was that person as dumb as I thought they were, or as smart as I thought they were?
No, that's true. It is a confidence thing. I totally agree with you. I think
100%.
It's a pleasant surprise when you meet somebody and they end up being as smart as you think they're going to be nowadays.
It's nice. But look at what's going on in New York City today. It's tragic. With the politics and
mm-hmm.
Our mayor there and all that. I mean, it's tragic.
It's enough to make you want to head down to Miami and take a lunch at Mandolin and watch the world go by, huh?
You got it, babes. And then look at our last president. Oh my God! It occurred to me. It's funny. The other day I was saying, I'm so much more relaxed, and I'm thinking, I know why, because I don't hear his voice every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely true.
It really has made the world much better because it's quieter. It's a much quieter world. Not that there's a lot of tragic things going on.
Sure.
There are, but
it is quieter. And we're not used to quiet.
Yeah, the daily barrage does take a toll on one's mental state, even if you're not that engaged in it. It's still
100%
troublesome. Mickey, it's been a pleasure, Mickey. Thank you for joining us.
Chris, my man, Jason, good to meet you guys. If I get to California,
we'll be in Miami sooner than you're in California.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come tap in at the Bel Air Hotel if you're here, or we'll come to you in Miami. Let the cookie crumble as it may.
Okay. So take care, guys, and great to see you, by the way.
Great to see you too. We'll talk to you soon, Mickey. Thank you.
All right.
All right, later.
Take care. Bye, Jason. Good to meet you.
Take me out tonight, where there's music and there's people and the young and the light. Driving in your car, I never want to go home, because I haven't got one anymore. Take me out tonight, because I want to see people and I want to see life.